There is a nerve in your neck that takes a detour it does not need to take. It starts at your brain. It ends at your voice box a few centimeters away. Simple trip. Instead, it dives down into your chest, loops under an artery near your heart, and climbs back up. In a giraffe, the same nerve does the same thing. Its neck is over 2 meters long. The total path approaches 5 meters to connect 2 organs sitting a hand's width apart. No engineer alive would build that, and yet every single mammal on Earth has it, including you. This is not a flaw in one animal. This is a fingerprint left behind by something that happened long ago. Because evolution cannot go back to the drawing board. It can only modify what is already there. Living things make copies of themselves, and the copies are never perfect. Tiny differences appear. Slightly longer legs, slightly thicker shell, slightly different color. Most of them change nothing. Those differences get passed down. A parent with a deeper beak tends to have chicks with deeper beaks. Most of that variation just sits there, doing nothing useful at all for hundreds of generations, waiting. Then the world changes. A drought, a new predator, a colder winter, a new food source. Suddenly, one of those useless differences is not useless. It becomes the difference between eating and starving. The ones carrying it survive slightly more often, so they leave more offspring and their version spreads. That is the entire mechanism. Copying errors, inheritance, and a world that kills unevenly. Nobody is steering, which raises a fair objection. That sounds slow, slow enough that you could never actually watch it. So let us watch it. 1973, a rock in the Pacific called Daphne Major in the Galapagos. 2 biologists, Peter and Rosemary Grant, start measuring finches. Not a few, nearly every bird on the island. Beak depth, beak length, wing length, body mass. Bird by bird, year after year, for decades. In 1976, there were 751 finches there. Average beak depth, 9.65 millimeters. Then the rains stopped. Across all of 1977, 20 millimeters of rain fell. The plants died. The small soft seeds ran out first. What remained were large seeds with hard, spiny shells. A slightly deeper beak could crack them. A slightly shallower beak could not. 85% of the birds died. By the end of 1978, 90 finches were left. Their average beak depth was 10.55, almost a millimeter in 2 years measured in the field. Not a theory, a number in a notebook. And then, decades later, the same rule ran the same island backwards. That part comes later. Meanwhile, in 1988, a biologist named Richard Lenski started something that was almost absurdly patient. He took a single population of gut bacteria and split it into 12 genetically identical flasks. Every day, someone transfers a drop into fresh food. Every day. For 38 years so far. The bacteria have now passed 80,000 generations. For humans, that would be well over 1 million years. 12 identical starting points, identical food, identical conditions. So all 12 should end up identical too. They did not. Each flask found its own solutions. Some got faster, some got bigger cells. And around generation 31,500, one single flask did something the other 11 never managed. It learned to eat citrate, a chemical that had been sitting untouched in its food since day one. Textbooks say it cannot do that. One flask, one lineage, did it anyway. Now stretch that clock. 38 years gave us one new trick. Life has had roughly 3.5 billion years. For the first 2 billion of them, nothing on Earth was bigger than a single cell. No plants, no animals, no bones. Just cells copying themselves, drifting, and quietly poisoning each other. And every one of those cells left something behind in you that you can still read. Your cells store information in DNA. So do bacteria. So do oak trees, mushrooms, and jellyfish. Not just the same molecule, the same code. The same 3-letter words meaning the same things. A firefly gene dropped into a tobacco plant simply works. The plant glows. It is the same language. Shared language means shared source. Everything alive is a branch, and the branches all meet below. Which brings us to the moment one of those branches did something it was never built for. Around 375 million years ago, some fish lived in shallow, weedy, oxygen-poor water. Water like that is a bad place to breathe. Some of them gulped air at the surface. Their front fins had thick bones and joints inside, useful for pushing along a muddy bottom. Nothing about that fish was aiming at land. A stronger fin was just a better fin then. But a fin with a shoulder, an elbow, and a wrist inside it is already most of an arm. Across millions of years, shallow water fish became animals that could haul themselves out of water and stay. And here is where the nerve comes back. In a fish, there is no neck at all. Brain, heart, and gills sit crowded together. That nerve's little loop under a blood vessel costs nothing. Then necks appeared, the heart drifted downward, and the nerve was already looped on the wrong side. It could not be rerouted. It could only be stretched. And then one lineage went truly strange. 48 million years ago, in what is now Pakistan, there was a wolf-sized animal called Pakicetus. 4 legs built for walking, nostrils at the tip of its snout. It hunted around streams. It also had a thick, dense ear bone found in exactly one group of animals alive today: whales. Pakicetus is an early whale, standing on 4 legs on dry land, eating fish. Over the next 10 million years, the fossils march. Bodies lengthen, hind legs shrink, tails widen. The nostrils climb, snout, then higher on the skull, then finally at the top of the head. By 34 million years ago, Lanocetus is 9 meters long and never touches land again. But some of them still had ankles, complete ankle bones and toes inside a body that could not walk. And a whale embryo still gives the whole thing away today, every single time one develops. It grows a neck. It grows hind limb buds. It grows nostrils on its snout. Then it reabsorbs them. Which brings us back to your neck and the 2 other souvenirs you are carrying right now. You have muscles around your ears for turning them towards sound. Most people cannot use them. You get goosebumps. That reflex raises fur to trap warm air. You do not have enough fur. And your voice box sits right beside your food pipe, which is why people choke on dinner. None of it is designed. All of it is inherited, then modified, then never cleaned up. That is what evolution actually looks like from the inside. Not progress, just accumulation. Now, the finches. In 2003, another drought hit Daphne major. Beaks got smaller. A bigger species had arrived and taken the large seeds. Same rule, same island, opposite direction. Evolution has no destination. It has yesterday and whatever is killing you today. Next time, the eye.